Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Nerva Darling, and as always I'm coming with you with another self-improvement and mindset video. If you are not already subscribed, I'm gonna go ahead and ask you to hit that subscribe button so that you can keep up to date with all my latest videos and content. And definitely enjoy this video. So for today's video, we're going to be focusing on understanding your inward and outward energy and being able to create energetic boundaries for yourself. This is a video that I am extremely excited about because this is going to be crucial to your growth as an individual. So we're going to kind of break this video into two parts. We're going to do a little bit on inward energy and then we're going to do outward energy. But we're going to start with outward energy just because I've been feeling really excited lately and I think it just makes sense to start there. We can also get into this hair. So this is actually the same hair that I've been wearing, but I brushed it out and it is absolutely fabulous. I'm like high-key obsessed. I think curls just always look better brushed out, and this is the look and I am really digging it. So for today's drink of choice, we're a little bougie today. I have some apple cider, okay? This is from a local farm, so which is pretty cool. It was made on a farm and I was able to visit the farm and do some pumpkin picking. Wasn't able to pick any apples though, but I think this is really cool and it is absolutely delicious. And I just had to put it in a wine glass to just get the entire feel. So as mentioned, today we're going to be starting with outward energy. So let's see what the definition for outward energy is. So outward energy refers to the energy that is moving or being directed away from a source, essentially flowing outwards from a central point. It describes the concept of energy being emitted or radiated outward, like the heat from a fire or the light from the sun, which travels outward from its core to its surface and beyond. So in this analogy, we're going to be using ourselves as the source and the energy that we create. As you may or may not know, energy can never be destroyed. It can only be outwardly pushed in or held in. And essentially with your growth journey, you never want to hold on to energy, specifically negative energy. And getting into that negative energy, it's always best to channel that energy outwards. Okay, so when you think of negative energy, you can think of something like depression, anxiety, heartbreak, anger, frustrations, any type of energy that puts you in a negative space. You never want to hold on to it. Now, yes, you can go through that emotion, you can understand it, you can feel it, but you shouldn't be holding on to that energy for longer than you need to, because that is when you will start noticing issues with your skin, issues with weight problems, issues with your thinking. And as we all know, our mind is literally the writers of our lives. So as you are holding on to negative energy, you will start to notice that the life around you is also turning negative, okay? So you want to make sure that you are not holding on to that energy. So what you want to do is find ways to channel that energy outward. So some ways that you channel that energy outward is, as we all know, journaling, number one best way, especially if you're more of like a conservative person and you don't have a therapist or you don't have anyone to talk to, or if it's something really personal, I would say to journal. That helps a lot. That or speaking to someone that you really trust is also a way. And now before you go telling them what's going on, make sure you check in and you're just like, hey, are you in the space to hear me out? Do you have room to listen to me right now? Because people sometimes also don't want to hear your BS, okay? Or don't want to hear your negativity. So make sure you are always asking for permission before you open up about whatever's going on or whatever you might need to have a lend an ear for. You can do releases. Just recently, a group of me and a few girls, this Christian group that I'm part of, we did releases, which was really cool. We took balloons and we basically just wrote what did we want to release, like anxiety, overthinking, procrastination, whatever the case may be. We wrote it on the balloon and then we all just popped the balloon. And in that moment, it kind of just felt like, ooh, like it was just a moment of like, okay, this feels like it has been released. Now, if you want to be more specific and write down a certain thing on a balloon and then pop it, that works too. Just make sure that with everything that you're doing, you are being intentional about what you're writing and what is it that you want to achieve. One of my favorite ones as well, okay, to release some energy is to scream, okay? And I know, like, really think about it, like, how often do we scream? And I'm not talking about screaming because someone is getting on your nerves. I'm talking about screaming just to scream. Like, how often are you just like, never. We don't do that, okay? And if you do, you got a lot of, you know, your energy is being released, which is good. You can either scream into a pillow or scream, go somewhere. You need to scream. Sometimes you need to let it out, okay? And listen, it be like that. When I was living in New York, I would take the train. I remember it was one time me and my little brother was on a train in New York, okay? And this girl literally was like standing there and she started screaming. And I was like, you know what? Maybe she really needs to release that. You know, I mean, even though there was like 40 other people on the train, it's like, girl, you ain't, you know, we ain't have to hear that. But that's the location that she chose, but she really needed a release at that time. So definitely letting it out and verbally expressing, screaming, and using your expressions. One of my absolutely top favorite ways to release energy is to work out, okay? Lately, well, actually, not even lately. I started working out when I was 19 and I fell in love with it, even though I'm not super consistent. But I love working out. I love weights. I love calisthenics. Whatever I can get my fingers on. Okay, that is a great way to release energy. Why? You are literally putting yourself in a state of sweating, in a state of focus, of getting in tune with your body. Whether that's going for a walk, a run, doing some leg presses, you know, some lateral arm raises, whatever the case may be. Some crunches for your belly. Okay, you're getting fit and you're releasing energy. So I would definitely say make sure that you are using workouts as a way to also release negative energy. I know I touched a bit on our energy and ways to transmute it if you're in a negative mindset, but also keep in mind that our energy can also be positive. And now positive outward energy is also one of my favorites. Why? Because others around you are also able to experience it along with you. For example, our energy can be you feeling super social when you're usually not a social person, or feeling super extroverted. That is the time that you want to capitalize on that, okay? You want to call someone, call a friend, call a family member, plan a little get together, not too far out because you don't know how you're going to feel in 2 weeks, but you can plan it out for maybe that weekend, have some friends come together, capitalize on that outward energy. Because one thing that sometimes we don't realize is that when you plan things or you call someone, that person could have been waiting to have that connection with someone, okay? And you reached out because you were feeling that outward energy of happiness and you were able to go ahead and share with them. So always make sure you're capitalizing on your energy. Like, if you're feeling really happy, go ahead and call someone, tell them that you love them. If you're feeling really happy, go ahead and like hug a family member, okay? Show them that love. You never know who needs it, and your outward energy is super sacred, especially when it's positive outward energy. Share that with the world. Don't feel like you have to keep it to yourself, okay? Even if your means of sharing it is posting a selfie, even if your means of sharing it is drawing something, you know, creating something creative, making a dish and sharing that, that is a way to send out positive outward energy. And now with energy, we always have the yin and the yang, or the polarity, you know what I mean, the sun and the moon. And now we have inward energy. Now inward energy is something that I am truly passionate about. I am an introvert, but I do have my extrovert tendencies with the people I love and care about. But when it comes to inward energy, this is going to be your sacred and personal energy that you will need to zone in on yourself, okay? And we're going to talk about the definition of inner energy. So inner energy can refer to the total amount of energy in a system or a person's inner force and wisdom, okay? Inner energy. Now, when you think of inner energy, I want you to think about what comes to mind. For me, when I think of energy, inner energy, that's kind of funny. But for me, when I think of inner energy, a few things come to mind, okay? I think of napping. I think of comfy clothes. I think of like wanting to stay home and cancel plans. I think of like a rainy day and just being like cuddled up on the couch, okay? I think of a heated blanket, okay? That's what I think about when I think about inner energy. I think about canceling all my plans and taking a day off so I can just stay home. That is what I think about when I think of inner energy. So you want to think of your emotions and thoughts, okay? You'll be ruled by your emotions and your thoughts, whether negative or positive, okay? So you have to find ways to capitalize on both. Now, this is also the time when you feel like you're in that inner energy mode. This is the perfect time to nourish your mind, your soul, your body, and your spirit. This is also the perfect time to get in sync with yourself. And as I always say in my other videos, this is the perfect time to tap into that intuition. And if you feel like you haven't necessarily tapped into that intuition yet, this is the perfect time for you to learn how to strengthen your intuition, because you are in your energy, and during that time the focus or your primary person is you, okay? So in this moment, if you're feeling more so down, you can read books. I used to read self-development books all the time. I read them from like 18 to 22, okay? And I got tired of it. Yes, all that knowledge is with me, of course, but I am at that stage in my life where I just don't I just don't want to read any more self-development books, okay? I used to be a fiend for those, okay? And I've learned a lot, and I'm able to implement those in the videos that I share with you guys. So during that time, I wouldn't read a self-development book, but if you have not tapped into self-development books, I definitely would. For me, personally, I would probably read something that is maybe about, there's just one book I'm reading, I forgot the name, but I got it from like a New York City library, like a little free library stand outside, and it's basically the author talking about the little joys in her life, like knitting and like her cat and her dad and gardening, like just small stuff that just makes you just look around you and be like, wow, I really appreciate how the sun comes into the room, you know, or make you feel like, wow, I really appreciate how the leaves are turning brown this spring, and it's just so beautiful. And like, you're able to just zone in on the little things, because the little things matter more than you think. I would say during this time, you would want to create an intimate setting for yourself, okay? Now, you guys know I'm really big on candles and love candles, okay? That was my candle brand a few years back that I'm working on rebuilding as time goes on. I really have this vision for it, and I'm very stuck on this perfected vision on it, so I am waiting, and I am fine with waiting. Create that atmosphere for yourself. Whether that's burning candles, whether that's putting on some lo-fi, I really love some lo-fi, you know, putting on your music, if it's like the Christian jams, if it's jazz, whatever the case may be, whatever sets you in that mode where you feel like this is my space, okay? Recently, I got a projector and I love it. Why? Because I feel like I'm not necessarily watching TV. I feel like with my projector, it gives it more of a nostalgic feel. And I don't know if that's the same for you guys, but that is definitely a way to help really tap into that energy, into that inner self. And during this time, you want to be taking naps, okay? You want to take light naps, nourish your body. Instead of doing like extreme workouts, maybe go for a walk, maybe practicing yoga or just stretching. You know, don't put pressure on yourself to be that version of you when you're in your outer energy, okay? Don't ever do that, because that is one way to create disruption if you are not mentally or physically in that space. And then during this time, you also want to have nourishing meals, okay? And when you are in your outer energy, I don't know about you guys, but when I feel like I'm like super social and super energetic, I'm not really thinking about food. I'll eat, but it's not like I'm really like zoned in on what I'm eating. Versus when I'm like in my like inner energy and I'm more quiet and more chill, I find that like I want to eat like meats and salads. I'm like really mindful, smoothies, things that I know that's gonna make me feel good, okay? So making sure that you're really nourishing yourself. There is this one girl on YouTube. She has like a channel for soups. And when I tell you, I go on there and I look at her soup recipes and I make them too, okay? This is the perfect time for that. This is the perfect time to learn a new recipe. This is the perfect time to enhance your inner knowing, whether that's recipes, mindset, beauty, whatever the case may be. This is the time for you to focus and really zone in on yourself. You also want to be treating yourself extremely gently, okay? So that means not being hard on yourself. If you're feeling emotional, write it out or talk to someone that you really trust in the intimate setting. You need to be as gentle with yourself as possible. Think of yourself as a baby and you're just cradling yourself, okay? That is how you want to treat yourself, and be okay with saying no to people when it comes to plans or doing anything that's a little bit out of your comfort level, because essentially you want to create a little bit of a bubble for yourself to preserve that energy as you are refueling yourself. So this is also the best time for you to really zone in and tune in with yourself and listen to what your body and your mind is telling you, okay? If that means that you're having a backache and you in a place that you don't usually have it in, maybe it's time for you to, like, you know, try to massage that knot out of your body, you know? Maybe it's time for you to put lotion on your feet because your feet's been dry lately. You know what I mean? Like, this is a time for you to zone in on your self-care, your personal care, mental and physical as well. As mentioned before, this is actually the best time for you to focus on enhancing that intuition. Why? This is the time your mind and body will speak to you, okay? And now I can make a video on like your intuition, understanding if it's correct or if it's coming from a negative mindset or a negative view. But if you feel like you're at a place where you can trust your intuition and you feel comfortable with your intuition and you worked on adjusting your negative mindset, then you can really zone in and listen. Like, write down, like, you know, maybe you might have a thought like, maybe I don't really like shopping at this supermarket because I find that the meats are whatever. You know what I mean? Or maybe if you get a thought where it's like, maybe I don't really like this person. Or like, maybe I don't feel comfortable in this space. Write that down. You really want to zone in because this is when you are at your peak sensitivity. Therefore, you will be learning stuff about yourself that you wouldn't really be thinking about when you're in your outward energy phase, just because you are more in tune with yourself. And during this time, I know a lot of the times people do not like to sink in with their darker selves, but you do want to sink in with the darker selves and the part of you that you typically hide from the world. This is how you are going to create the most established connection with yourself, because you are understanding both the light and the dark. You are releasing the bad energy, releasing the good energy onto others, meaning sharing it with others, and zoning in on the things that you need to fix and the things that you don't need to fix, or things that you need to put under a little microscope and just observe a little bit more. With that being said, my camera battery is dying. Thank you guys so much for watching. As always, definitely subscribe, share this video with anyone that you know would find useful, and don't forget to follow me on Instagram, and I will see you lovelies in my next video.